It's just been a month, but West Bengal has been rocked by violent agitations both in the north and the south. In the north, up in the Darjeeling Hills, the Gorkhas have again raised their demand for a separate Gorkhaland. And in the south, there has been tension between Muslims and Hindus, communal tension. But it has rocked Mamata Banerjee's TMC government, and yet the government has refused any sort of central help or mediation. Now, why is this all happening at this time? There have been allegations and counter-allegations, and there have been Facebook posts and WhatsApp messages which have inflamed these agitations. But the truth is that West Bengal is burning. In the aftermath of communal violence, fresh tension have been brewing up in West Bengal's Bashirhat. Bashirhat, crippled by a week-long spree of violence, has seen an uneasy calm on the ground for the first time since communal clashes broke out. But barely 65 kilometers from Mamata's seat of government, the political slugfest has only intensified. A BJP team led by Rupa Ganguly went to visit the family of Kartik Ghosh, who in BJP's words was a party worker killed in the violence. But the Chief Minister of West Bengal would have none of it. Police detained the BJP leaders and barred them from claiming support of the riot-hit locals in Bashirhat. The Left Brigade, led by Mohammad Salim, met with the same fate. The delegation of left parties heading towards Bashirhat was prevented from visiting the violence-hit areas. Meanwhile, the TMC has cracked the whip on its party's local MLA. TMC MLA Dibyendu Biswas has been removed as the party in charge of the area. Bashirhat and Baduria have been on edge since June 30th, when a teenager allegedly posted a blasphemous message against the Prophet of Islam. Deserted roads, gutted houses and shops. As rain lashes down on Bashirhat, an uneasy calm prevails.
First thing first, there's an uneasy calm here. There's no major incident of violence that has been reported since last night when one house and two shops were burned down. But there has been scattered incident of violence throughout the day reported from different areas of subdivision of Bashirhat. But they're not as of huge magnitude that the RAF or for that matter the paramilitary forces had to intervene.
As central forces patrolled Bashirhat, locals claim that the violence in the town, nestled only 65 to 70 kilometers from Kolkata, was instigated by outsiders.
जो घटना घटा था उस घटना में बसियाट वासी का कोई रिस्पांसिबल नहीं था। बसियाट जो शहर है वो शांतिपूर्ण का शहर है।
বেলেঘাটায় কালকে আমরা দুজনকে বেলেঘাটা থেকে ধরেছি। বেলেঘাটায় ধরে আমরা পুলিশের হাতে তুলে দিয়েছি।
প্রশাসন নিশ্চুপ, প্রশাসন কোনো কথা বলতে না। আজ 3-4 দিন পরে প্রশাসন কোনো নিশ্চুপ দেখছে, খালি দেখছে, দাঁড়িয়ে দাঁড়িয়ে দেখছে।
4 days later, the aftermath of violence is brutal and grim.
Right now we are at ground zero Bashirhat, right outside Bashirhat police station, and though the state government claims that the situation is normal, but the situation is far from normal. Even yesterday the SDPO's car was ransacked and smashed. We can clearly see my camera person Tapas is showing on the windscreen that has been smashed across, and that is the reality. Situation is extremely volatile even as we speak.
Vandalized police stations, shops and houses gutted, Bashirhat resembling a ghost town.
This used to be a shop that was the bread and butter of one family, but now it's completely demolished, it's completely gutted down, all because there's some communal passions that was charged up the day yesterday.
But as Bosirhat struggles to return to normalcy and end and come out of the circle of violence, there is no stopping the political blame game. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee locked horns with Governor K.N. Tripathi, but her own party MLA claimed that he was busy elsewhere while Bosirhat burned.
हम लोग भी आ गए, हम नहीं था, हम वो बार्सिलोना का एक इनविटेशन के लिए हम बाहर में था, स्पेन में था, तो हम साथ ही साथ निकल आया.
Meanwhile, the BJP contradicted the TMC's claim of calm and alleged that a BJP party worker had been stabbed to death in the violence.
हमारे एक कार्यकर्ता को वहाँ स्टैब किया गया था. आज सुबह उसको 6:30 बजे मौत हो गया हॉस्पिटल मार्जिकर में. तो 5 दिन हो गया, आज तक परिस्थिति वहाँ की कंट्रोल में नहीं है सरकार की.
না এইসব কোনো রং দেবেন না, উনি কোনো পার্টি, আমরা বাবা রেগুলার খেটে খেতেন, তার উপর আমার সংসার ডিপেন্ড করতো, তিনি মারা গিয়েছেন. এখন আমি চিন্তিত, আমরা 9 জন বাবা ধরে ছিলাম, এখন আমার সংসার সেই মানে কি হবে আমি জানি না.
While the Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee refused military reinforcements offered by the centre, Bosirhat is slowly limping back to normalcy. The Bosirhat violence, which started over a Facebook post, has already claimed one life and destroyed the homes of many. But the question is, will the parties put politics on the back burner and try and solve the crisis for once? According to the 2011 census, that's the last census that happened, there are 25 million Muslims in West Bengal. They account for 27% of the population. Now, despite these figures, there have not been communal tension in the state for close to 40 years. No major incidents. Yet, it is happening now. So that makes us question the timing. Why now?
Law and order is a state subject. Therefore, if there is violence in 24 North Parganas, the first responsibility comes on the Mamata Banerjee government. You cannot blame the centre without first dealing with law and order. Mamata Banerjee seems to be blaming the centre for what is happening in Bengal, sir.
I think first of all you need to understand, Mr. Sardesai, the tectonics of this process. Darjeeling was smiling. Tourists were rushing. Border of Nepal. What happens there? There's intervention, obviously, by BJP, by the way the statements are made. Now then you come to communal divide. Consistently, a party that has only 2 MLAs in place of 211 that we have, it wants to get into this state by dividing Bengal, which has never been there in its history since independence.
Are you saying that the Facebook, Dr. Mitra, are you saying that the Facebook post that led to this violence was instigated by the BJP? Is that the allegation that you are making? Do you have any proof of that? That these Facebook posts are being put up by BJP to incite violence?
I'll just show you. You see, point is systematically, because there is no other option, because GDP has doubled, because the economic indicators, as you yourself know, taxes have doubled, development is happening at a huge rate. Only way to get into this state, strategically the way that BJP thinks, is to divide communities. This is done in UP, they are doing it in Madhya Pradesh by shooting farmers, they are doing it in Maharashtra, they are doing it in Gujarat. It's a systematic conspiracy in this country undermining federalism.
I am asking you once again, sir,
as far as law and order is concerned, today everything is fine.
Sir, I am asking you once again, do you or Mamata Banerjee have any proof that this entire Facebook post controversy was done by the BJP? You are making a serious allegation. You have to back it up, sir, with evidence. Otherwise, it will seem, because the allegation being made against your government is that you have allowed Islamic groups to emerge, Islamic radical groups to emerge, who in areas like 24 North Parganas are stirring the violence.
May I intervene at this point?
Yes.
Where is the 24 North Pargana is right on the border of Bangladesh. Who controls the border? The BSF, the CSS, or everybody from the center. I'm making something even more serious. Look at this letter. It's a letter by the governor to the chief minister saying, and 35 such letters are with me. What does it enclose? It encloses, you see the top of that, Bharatiya Janata Party. Governor is writing to the chief minister every day with letterheads of BJP. Look at the next page, continues into it, and I have at least 30 or 40 such letters every day, as though the BJP's headquarters have shifted you know where.
The allegation being made is that this is a conspiracy to, in a way, in the end, bring down the Mamata Banerjee government, undermine it by stirring communal violence. This is the charge which has been made, and even further, that the governor's office is being used for that. How do you respond, Babul?
The point is, even if it's a BJP, you know, if you are blaming others, why aren't you controlling the state? Do it with your iron hand. You have law and order, it's a state subject, you have it in your hand. Why do you have police? Why do you have people
Babul Supriyo, the Trinamool Congress is claiming that these Facebook, that there is a pattern. Babul Supriyo, the Trinamool Congress is claiming there's a pattern. Facebook posts that are designed to incite violence are put out in the public domain in several such instances. They have given examples in the past of other similar instances that have taken place. Each time they are saying this is being instigated to create communal violence and then try and impose president's rule through the governor's office, who is writing, according to them, on the governor's letterhead, on the BJP letterhead.
I am saying, leave all this political turmoil aside. Let this be debated on the floor. Let this be debated in the right forum. Let the judiciary come into place with the people, the boy getting arrested, whoever that is. Do not make allegations. Control the ground zero situation. That is what they need to do. Why are the innocent people being ransacked? Why are they being tortured? And you know, there is nothing called majority and minority when it comes to, you know, handling a criminal situation. There are only two kinds of people in this entire scenario: the criminals and the normal people.
Like a communal tinderbox, Bengal is burning, and politicking has reached a crescendo. But the first signs of things going wrong began about a month back, when the Darjeeling Hills, all the districts out there, erupted in a renewed demand for Gorkhaland. Here is a report on what happened then.
Identity is obviously more important. Because you know what makes our Gorkhaland issue, our agitation, unique? When it was started in 2007, it was not about development. It was not about the basic necessities. It was not about having good roads and, you know, clean, hygienic areas. No, it was because we wanted our identity back.
Term Gorkhaland, it means our identity. And right now, what I am seeing as a citizen of Darjeeling or India is that we are, like, our democracy is being murdered.
Protests and bunds have brought Darjeeling to a standstill.
We want separatist Gorkhaland! Gorkhaland! Gorkhaland!
Not a single day in the whole month of June passed without some form of agitation breaking out in this once upon a time Queen of Hill Stations. The British built Darjeeling because of what they referred to as the home weather. And it is to flee the heat of the plains that Darjeeling is still the choicest destination for tourists of West Bengal and beyond. But in June, those unlucky tourists who had come looking for respite from the heat got stranded in the hills because of the heat of the Gorkhaland agitation.
আপনি কোথা থেকে এসেছেন?
বাঁকুড়া থেকে।
তো আপনারা এখন এখানে ওয়েট করছেন, গাড়ি পাননি?
না, গাড়ি আমরা পাইনি।
তো কিভাবে ফিরবেন ভাবছেন? আমরা ভাবছি গাড়ি এখান থেকে দিলে আমরা বাড়ি যাব সরকার থেকে দিলে
So people are waiting actually, because the government has announced that they are going to provide assistance. They are going to provide car. You can see, women out here with children out in the open waiting for the various, vehicles, if at all, being provided. আপনি কোথা থেকে এসেছেন?
আমরা বাঁকুড়া থেকে এসেছি আমরা বাঁকুড়ার কতুলপুর থেকে এসেছি আমরা আজ রাত 2টো থেকে
মাঝখান থেকে কেটে বেরিয়ে যাচ্ছেন
না আমরা এসেছি 2-3 দিন কিন্তু বন্ধের ব্যাপারে তো আমরা ডিস্টার্ব হচ্ছি বা প্রতিদিন ট্রাফিক জ্যাম হচ্ছে এইসব কারণে আমাদের ঘোরা ঠিকঠাক একদমই হয়নি উপরন্তু প্রতিদিন রাতে গাড়ির যে আমরা এখনো পর্যন্ত কোনো আশা নেই আমাদের
সরকারের তরফ থেকে আপনাদের কিছু বলা হয়েছে গাড়ি বন্ধ
না ওনারা আশ্বাস দিয়েছেন কিন্তু যা দেখছি এখন আজ রাতে
যদি আজকে না পান রাতে কোথায় থাকবেন
ফুটপাতেই আমাদেরকে কাটাতে হবে কারণ আমরা তো হোটেল ছেড়ে দিয়েছি না এই বাচ্চা নিয়ে বৃষ্টি হলেও কিছু করার নেই
It all started with a state government initiative to impose a rule that threatened the identity of the hill people. And the Pandora's box of Gorkha dispute burst open. A month after a parliamentary committee proposed the introduction of the Hindi language as a compulsory subject in schools across the country, an alarmed Trinamool government in West Bengal countered by announcing that Bangla will be made mandatory in schools across the state. The announcement was made by the state education minister on May 15th and then reiterated by the chief minister herself in a Facebook post on May 16th. It fireballed into an agitation that once again threatens to divide the state.
हम लोग का डिमांड है गोरखालैंड ममता बनर्जी जो अत्याचार कर रहे हैं ये अच्छा नहीं है हम लोग को आदमी लोग को कल निदान में गोली ठोक के मार दिया 10 आदमी लोग को न्यूज में देखा रहा है खाली 2
ये ममता बनर्जी ने बोला पुलिस ने फायर नहीं किया
पुलिस ने नहीं किया तो किसने किया साफ दिखा रहे मीडिया में देखे नेट में थोड़े सब में दिखा रहे निदान में ठोका है गोली निदान में आम जनता को
हम लोग का 3-4 बच्चा लोग मर गया है तो सही हो रहा है हम लोग को डिमांड है गोरखालैंड का
Realizing the political faux pas, Mamta Banerjee soon went back on her decision and announced that the hill districts would be spared from the diktat. But by then, things had spiraled out of her control. Even her ally, the GNLF, came out with daggers drawn. The Gorkha National Liberal Front issued a statement questioning Mamta's move, saying if she felt that what people eat is their fundamental right and freedom and no one should interfere in people's choice of food, then why do you mindlessly interfere and force feed what language students need to study in schools as their third language? You vehemently advocate for one's choice for food to impress certain sections of voters and save your minority vote bank. But on the other hand, you forcefully, divisively and undemocratically issue a diktat imposing the third compulsory Bengali language option. The chief minister rushed to the hills to try and pour oil over troubled waters. After a gap of 45 years, a cabinet meet was once again held in Darjeeling on the 8th of June 2017. Gorkha Jan Mukti Morcha-led agitators attempted to march to the venue of the cabinet meeting, being presided over by the West Bengal chief minister. The agitators damaged police vehicles, setting some of them ablaze. The police retaliated by firing tear gas shells and lathi charging the violent GJM supporters. Later, the RB was deployed in Darjeeling town.
Governance is not to be done by people who are, talking big, who are threatening people. These things don't work. And therefore, I would imagine, much as we need a change of guard in Bengal, we also need a change of guard in Darjeeling. We need sensible leaders to come up in both Calcutta and Darjeeling. And I think this problem can be settled. It can be tackled. It can be tackled within the present framework of Bengal as well.
In March this year, Mamata Banerjee upgraded Mirik to a subdivision from a mere block in the Darjeeling district. 2 months later, Mirik paid back with a massive win for the Trinamool Congress in the civic polls. It was after a gap of 3 decades that a non-Hill political party formed the local government at Mirik, leaving the GJM looking for an opportunity to undermine Mamata's influence in the region. The diktat to make Bangla compulsory in schools was just what the GJM needed to put TMC on the back foot.
Provided the Gorkhas are given sufficient confidence that what has happened this time will never happen again. Nothing will be imposed on them. Let them grow the way they feel like growing. We have no business to go and influence them. And for the very simple reason that we Bengalis are extremely sensitive about our identity. And if we are so sensitive about our identity, we have to be sensitive about somebody else's identity as well.
One thing spiraled into another, and the agitation against imposition of a language sparked off the old demand for a separate state for the Gorkhas of India. Questions and allegations of underdevelopment, neglect and gaping economic differences with the majority Bengalis resurfaced in the hills.
जातिगत आंदोलन को प्रशासन देकर दबा नहीं सकते हैं, उसका दूसरे कारण हो सकता है, लेकिन प्रशासन देकर राजनीतिक हल चाहिए और वार्ता में एक समझौता गोरखालैंड के सिवाय दूसरे होना नहीं चाहिए, ये हमारा मांग है.
As a series of bunds and agitation continued to keep the Darjeeling hills on the boil, the Chief Minister decided to extend her stay in the hills. Darjeeling, the Queen of Hills, this summer became a nightmare for people living there and for those visiting. By mid-June, as police broke into GJM leader Bimal Gurung's house, his party called for an indefinite and total shutdown of the hills.
I would ask my camera person to show that Morcha supporters have dispersed in various areas and serpentine lanes of this Darjeeling district. And anywhere when they have seen, anywhere in any of the balconies, if they are seen, the police is literally threatening them to remain indoors. So, tense situation out here in Darjeeling. The situation on the ground here in Darjeeling seems to be escalating with each passing day after the violence that ensued right outside the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha headquarters in Singmari, in which several people have been injured, and the Gorkha Janmukti Morcha is claiming that several of their workers have been critically injured. Now, what you're seeing behind me is that, a few columns of army being quickly called in once again. Of course, the army had already been deployed in Darjeeling for over a week now, but now what we are seeing is that preparations are on to quickly send the army, and possibly they are now going to be deployed outside the party office in Singmari where the trouble broke out. This is the confrontation. Look there, Gorkha Janmukti Morcha supporters sloganeering, police below. You can see there on the hill, Gorkha Janmukti Morcha supporters, and look how the police is charging. Look how the police is charging towards them. Look at the body language. This is the sense of aggression. The police is charging at them. There are women supporters. Clearly, a message is being sent by the West Bengal state administration that enough is enough. They are not going to allow the situation in the hills to go out of control.
Soon, the Chief Minister and her entourage left the hills. She had to go for a UN meet at The Hague. But Darjeeling was mourning the lives lost in the agitation. A 24-hour window was given by the agitators for outstation students and tourists to clear out of the area. Everybody who had come in from outside rushed from the hills to safer, quieter and more stable locations in the plains below. Gradually, as the agitation fell into a pattern, the novelty factor began to lose its sheen for the national media. But the anger on the ground continues to simmer. The youth of Darjeeling say they want solutions to their problems. They say they are tired of the lack of development in education, medical facilities and employment opportunities in these hills. The Gorkhaland movement is not new. These problems are not new. The politicking over these issues is not new either. They date back decades and even centuries, when wars and deals between colonial powers and sovereign rulers denied the local populace their right to self-determination. In the history of Bengal, violence has been written in every time there is a major change in ideology and government. When the CPM-led Left Front came to power and they removed the Congress, there was violence. When TMC removed the Left Front, there was violence. And now there is violence. So what does the future hold for Bengal? Because right now, Bengal is again burning.